Hello, are you able to hear now?
We are hearing. No problem.
Okay. Okay. So
Yes.
the topic we are going to see is process capability management. Tiaran, if you are not able to hear, just give me a
Yeah,
call.
definitely. I will give you a call. Not a
Yeah.
problem. Yes.
All right. Okay. Process capability management.
சார் நீங்க வீடியோ வேணா க்ளோஸ் பண்ணீங்க சார், கம்ஃபர்டபுளா இருக்கும் உங்களுக்கு. இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் கிளாரிட்டி வரும். நீங்க வீடியோ க்ளோஸ் பண்ணிட்டீங்கன்னா இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் கிளாரிட்டி வரும். சார் பேசலாம்.
Tiaran, are you hearing?
Yes, we are hearing.
Yeah. Put the second slide. Yeah. A process has got input as well as output, and everything has got to be measured. If you see the process, it consists of 4 M's, which all of you will be knowing it. But what I want to say is a few more points which may be of interest to you. Number one, out of the 4M, the most sensitive element is man. So we have to be very careful with man, and moreover, generally it is found in the case of a process, man doesn't contribute much. Dr. James Juran, who is a qualified quality management specialist, he always says 85% of the problems are management oriented problems. Only 15% or less is man oriented or operator oriented problems. So he was saying, don't focus much on man, instead focus on method, machine and material, which will give us the maximum output. That's number one. Number two, when we talk about output, we should always quantify anything you talk. Unless otherwise things are quantified, we will not be in a position to make use of it. For example, Dr. Taguchi, who is an exponent in quality, are you hearing, Tiaran?
We are hearing you. We are hearing.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay.
Audio is right, sir. Please continue.
நான் வந்து மியூட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன். நீங்க ஏதாவது ப்ராப்ளம்னா உங்களுக்கு சொல்றேன் நான்.
Sorry, okay. So I will continue then.
Yes, yes.
There is a problem, you come back. Right. As I was saying, Dr. Juran's recommendation is don't focus on man, focus on the other 3M's. And Dr. Taguchi was saying that if anything you want, anything that gets measured gets done. That is the word he used. That means if you want to improve any activity, the first step is to measure. Measurement plays a very clear and important role. And in order to measure that, you should have some units. And accordingly, when you want to measure output, there are number of units available, there are number of measures available. Some of you may be already knowing it. The things that we measure are P, Q, C, D, M, S. P for productivity. And we always indicate the measure with an arrow upward or downward. Upward means increasing the trend. Increased trend is better. Lower means decreased trend is better. So productivity, as you know, higher the better. Quality, there are different definitions of quality, but if you want to measure quality in terms of rejections, if you want to measure quality in terms of ppm levels, parts per million level, then lower will be the better. C, cost, lower the better. D, delivery. Delivery is not lower or higher, it should be at the right time. And the next one is M. M stands for morale. Example of morale. Absenteeism in an organization is an example of morale. Number of people participating or percentage of people participating in QC circle is an index of morale. Percentage of people participating in suggestion scheme is a percentage of morale. In Sundaram Clayton, we always have 100% participation in QCC movement. And that's an example of morale. So the first thing, in case if you are not measuring morale in all these terms, please start measuring it. The last one is S. S stands for safety. The lower the better. Safety, I mean the number of accidents, the lower the better. There are two measures for safety. One, number of accidents, lower the better. There's some disturbance. Are you able to hear?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Continue, sir. Yes, sir. Continue, sir.
Yeah.
கண்டினியூ பண்ணுங்க. நான் நோட் பண்ணல இனிமே. நீங்க சொல்லுங்க, பேசிட்டே இருங்க. நான் நெக்ஸ்ட் ஸ்லைடு போணும்னா சொல்லுங்க.
Right. Okay. So S stands for safety. Safety is one measure is number of accidents that everybody must be measuring it. The number two is number of near miss accidents. Very, very important. I was about to get involved in an accident. Thank God. So it is an example of near miss accident. For all practical purposes, for all statistical purposes, for all measurement purposes, we should take near miss accidents as accidents. Even though it has not happened, we must take it as it has happened for the purpose of our statistics according to that. Yeah, somebody is talking on this.
அதை பத்தி கவலைப்படாதீங்க, ஏதாவது வரும் டிஸ்டர்பன்ஸ்.
Sorry, okay, right. So to sum up, I will say that output has got to be measured. PQCDMS is one such category. If you want to add any more, you are always welcome. But please focus on 3 M's, but at the same time, you should not forget the man. As far as the man is concerned, the most important thing for the process output is he should be a trained manpower or certified operator. Next step, please. Next slide.
Yes.
Next, yeah. It talks about variation. No two products for the same process are exactly alike, and the difference is known as variation. So all of you know this, and variation is very important. Variation cannot be made zero. Variation can always be reduced. Our job is to reduce variation, and it cannot be prevented. That is, variation cannot be prevented in any manufacturing process. Variation happens because of so many factors that we are going to see. So the lesson we are learning from this is that variation is an important activity. Variation has got to be reduced. It cannot be eliminated. Next slide. Stability. It's a very important thing. Stability, and the process is stable when it is operating under chance cost, no assignable cost. Now I'm using two words, chance cost and assignable cost. And for your information, chance cost is a statistical term. It is sometimes used as common cost. Assignable cost is also a statistical term, and it is sometimes referred as special costs. Out of the two, what is a chance cost and what is an assignable cost? Some of you will be knowing it, but to tell you very clearly based upon small day-to-day experience, say for example, in the early morning, 5:30, I get up and I go after my brushing the teeth, etc. I go for walk. During the walk, I just hit against a small stone. It just hurts me, nothing else. Then I stand for 1 minute, some 10 seconds and then continue my walking. So after some time, I forget what has happened. So what is the cost that has made me to hit against the stone? Do you think that I can avoid this? Generally, answer is no. So this cost is known as chance cost. The chance cost is part and parcel of our life. Similarly, the chance cost is part and parcel of the process also. The process also has got lots of chance costs like this, which cannot be avoided, but the chance costs are harmless. This is part of the process. It is harmless. We have to live with that. So that is chance cost. What is an assignable cost? Assignable means you assign a reason for that. Due to some reasons, this has happened. Let us take another simple example in day-to-day life. Say, for example, in a night, I want to go in a hurry to a particular place. I am just walking along the platform. I come across a junction. It was nearly night 12 o'clock, and the signal is there in that center of the road because it's a busy junction, and because it was the midnight, nobody was there on the road, and I look at the signal. The signal says red. Then I look to my right, look to my left. I find nobody is there on the road. Then we put logic. What the logic says, there is nobody there. Even though it says red, you go ahead because you are in a hurry to go. So that's what my mind says. So what I do, I immediately start walking, crossing the road. Suddenly, one youngster with his new bike comes round the corner with a full racing throttle. And when he comes at the full speed, I didn't have time to see and run, nor he has got time. He spotted me only at the last minute, so he could not apply the brakes or whatever it is. He comes and hits me against the side. I fall down. My leg gets fractured. I get admitted into the hospital. I am out of action for 3 months. So see the impact of this, see the effect of this. So this is known as assignable cost or special cost. In this particular case, or in majority of the cases, the assignable costs are avoidable costs. You also will agree in this particular case, I could have avoided. I should not have crossed when this is showing red. So that when it shows green, most probably I could have walked and the motorcycle also would have stopped because at least said it would have shown red. So all assignable costs are avoidable costs. All assignable costs are learning lessons for us. Why learning lessons? No assignable cost should repeat itself in future. That's the job of you and me. We should take action to see that the assignable costs are not repetitive. If it happens for the first time, statistically it should happen. At least it is pardonable. But if an assignable cost happens for the second time or third time, it is unpardonable. We should not allow this to happen. So please take it as a lesson that we should not allow any assignable cost to repeat itself in any process. Next slide, please. Stability. And what is stability? A process. Are you on stability now, TRM?
Variation, common and special cost.
Variation. You are not in stability.
Stability அடுத்தது variation, common and special cost.
Right. Stability we have not covered. We have just now covered.
Yes.
Stability just now we have covered. What I want to say, because the stability is attracting me. Stability means predictability, and predictability is affected by chance cost and assignable cost. That is what I want to say that. Okay. Next, the next slide is variation, common cost and special cost. Okay. And next slide, please. Yeah. You see this figure, you find when you are going on producing components and start measuring it, the x-axis measures the size of the product, and if you group it size-wise, then the x-axis gives the size or dimension or pressure or volume or weight or whatever you call that, and the y-axis gives the number of such pieces having that particular size or pressure or volume or whatever it is. So the y-axis gives, in other words, the numbers, or putting it in statistical terms, it gives frequency. Y-axis and x-axis put together, that is the number and the size or volume or pressure or the amperage, whatever you are measuring, the combination is known as frequency distribution. This is what in statistics we call it as frequency distribution. And you see this in this figure at the bottom, you see the things are joined by a black curve. It's supposed to be a smooth curve, and that is known as the frequency distribution curve. Right. Next slide. If you see a frequency distribution, the most famous, the most important, the most useful distribution is a normal distribution. The normal distribution, majority of people here may be knowing that it is a bell-shaped distribution. And a normal distribution has got three important characteristics. Number one, location. This is also known as X bar. Sometimes we call it as mean, and it is the location. So it is a variable. The variable means the location gets shifted. You see that in that figure itself, there are two lines meaning location 1, location 2. That is getting shifted. That means it is a variable. If it is a variable, then we'll have to control it. Number 2 is spread. If you see the bottom, that is the width. Width gives the spread. Actually, if you want to measure a process variation, you have to measure the process spread. When measuring the process spread, you are saying the process is having so much of variation. For that, a tool that is being used generally is histogram. That we are going to see. Some of you will be knowing it, but I am going to give you some additional points. The third one is shape. You just see that there are two shapes we have put. One shape is more or less bell shape, another is not bell shape. The not bell shape indicates presence of assignable cost. If the process has got an assignable cost or a special cost, then the distribution will be non-normal or it will not be normal. If on the other hand, if a process has got no special cost, then the shape or the distribution will be bell shape, as we are seeing it here. In the location case, spread case, everywhere you find it is bell shape. Why we should have bell shape? Bell shape means the process has got no assignable cost, but only chance cost. The chance cost is present. The chance cost cannot be eliminated. If the chance cost is present, even then we can predict the distribution. What is that we are going
சார்
to predict?
லொகேஷன் பத்தி சொல்லுங்க சார். சார் லொகேஷன் பத்தி கொஞ்சம்.
Right. I will come to it. The subsequent slide I will say that. What is location? I am not able to say in this slide. Definitely I will cover it in the next slide. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So, now as far as the shape is concerned, you have to be very careful, and it follows a normal distribution or a bell-shaped curve. Now we are going to develop lot of formulas. In the later off, we are going to see that. At that time, we are going to use two terminologies, CP and CPK. It's all formulas. I am going to explain that. But the formula will hold good only if the shape is normal. If the shape is not normal, if the shape is like what we are seeing it in the second one, it is actually it's called skewed to the right, or it can be it may not be bell shaped, it can be rectangular shape, it can be exponential. If you take exponential distribution, it will be of a different shape. Let us not bother too much about all that. So we will take a simple distribution. It can be, if it is going to be in the rectangular shape, then it is having lot of assignable costs. We cannot predict, the process is not stable. I am going to say this bit later. Next slide, please. Yeah, and here, even though earlier I have put, can you put the earlier slide, Narasimhan?
Yes, sir.
Earlier slide 7.
Sir, yeah, I am putting the 7 only.
Okay. Slide 7th slide, you see the distribution is not exactly bell shaped because of some software problems. Now you see slide 8. You see at the bottom, it is a bell-shaped curve will look like this. A bell-shaped curve will look like this, especially at the bottom. There are two such things. At the bottom, you see that it is a bell-shaped curve. And if you see this, a bell-shaped curve, that we are also at the bottom, we are saying prediction. If you see at the top, it is written presence of special costs and process output is not stable. When it is the presence of special cost, predictability goes out, and we will not be able to predict that. And when we talk about the absence of present special cost, there is only the common cost, which is at the bottom. You see, it is exactly bell-shaped, and you will be able to predict only common causes are present, and the process in such a case we say is in control, because there is no special causes in acting on the process. If the process is in control, that means no special causes or no assignable cost, only chance cost. Chance cost can never be eliminated. So the process will always live with chance cost. But as I said in the walking example, the first one, a small stone hits against my foot. It is harmless. It is not giving me any pain. Whereas the special cost made me to lie down for 3 months. So the special causes are dangerous. So that is why they have got to be eliminated. There are specific reasons for special causes that we should identify and eliminate. One of the responsibilities of all engineers working in the process, working with the process, either it can be a QC engineer, production engineer, whoever it is. His job is to identify the special causes. That means first he should identify the 3M factors. He should be quite familiar with the process to a very great extent, and he should become, over a period of time, process specialist. Only become a process specialist. One simple but not easy way of working. you start practicing. Practice, practice, practice. Kindly note down in your notebook or whatever it is. Practice, practice, practice. Why I am saying 3 times is you should not forget this. You are going to live with that. When you start practicing, all good practices, all good ways of doing it, all ways of identifying the special cause, then most probably you will become a sports specialist. I want all of you to become a process specialist. How will you become a process specialist? Only by following process, process, process. So please don't forget that we should follow the process. So the lesson we are learning, incidentally, every slide what I'm going to present to you, it should lead to a lesson. It may be a small lesson, it may be a big lesson, but it will be a lesson. You should take the essence of this and then start implementing it. Implement, implement, implement. Practice, practice, practice. All are important for us. These are going to improve our capability. If it is going to improve your capability, it will improve your overall standing in the organization. If it is going to improve your overall standing in the organization, then you are going. It is going to improve your position in the organization. If it is going to improve the position in the organization, it is going to improve the money that you are getting, the salary you are getting, or the compensation you are getting from the organization. It will get improved. More than that, you get lot of recognition from the top management. So that if there is a problem, how to tackle this, he knows the special cause. He has already done this earlier. Call that person. Like that, people will say. I want all of you to come to that stage. For that, don't forget practice, practice, practice. Our mantra is practice, practice, practice. Okay. Next slide. Slide 9. Next slide. Yeah. As I said, there are variations. When we are talking about variation, there we are talking about the normal distribution. The normal distribution will get distorted when there is a special cause that we have seen in the previous slide. And when the normal distribution, if there is no special cause, then most probably we'll be able to predict it. So here the variation is affected by common cause and special cause, which we have already seen it. So common cause is also known as chance cause. Sometimes I myself will use chance cause or common cause. Nobody should get confused. Similarly, special cause is also known as assignable cause. I'm quite familiar in using assignable causes rather than special causes, but both meaning the same. And this slide says variation that consistently acting on the process is the chance cause, and special cause or the factors causing that affects the process output, and it is unpredictable. So it affects the process output. PQCDMS it affects. So you have to be very careful in eliminating assignable cause. There is no question of reducing assignable cause. You have to eliminate. That is the answer. For that, you should get yourself a kit. You should become a process specialist. You will definitely become a process specialist. Some of you may be already process specialists. Please focus on the mantra, practice, practice, practice. Slide number 10. Next slide. Here it says causes of variation in an unstable process. What is an unstable process? A process with assignable cause. What are the causes for variation? Tool wear, high voltage, setup alteration, wrong loading. I have put only small things. Now, I have got a bad habit of giving homework to my participants. Now I am going to ask you to do your homework. Please add, based upon your experience, not based upon the textbook, some more assignable cause. Some more assignable cause to this list. Please add. Please note down, and you should add some more assignable cause to the list. So, over a period of time, you will have a list or putting it differently, a directory of assignable costs process-wise. If you develop the directory, then our job is over. All that we like to say is, if this is the special cost that acted on that, this is the corrective action we have taken and achieved success. So that corrective action should be incorporated or standardized into the SOP, Standard Operating Procedure. Very simple on that. But you have to keep directory of assignable costs. You do not keep directory of common cost, because common cost is harmless. You have to keep the directory of assignable cost because it is dangerous and it must be eliminated at any cost. Slide number 11. This is a common cost, as I said. Normal tool wear, normal voltage fluctuation, normal vibration, which all happens in the normal way, and which may cause some distortion, some small variation in the output of the process with respect to PQCDMS. Some of it you may be able to measure, some of it you may not be able to measure. And that is common cause. So don't bother about this. I don't want you to prepare a directory of common cause because it is harmless. Anyhow, you and I cannot eliminate it. You need not eliminate it. That's also there. Yeah. Now I am coming to a small example, slide 12, Narasimhan. Slide 12. Yeah.
Yes. More.
Yeah. I have taken some 68 readings regarding the weight of a packing box. That is a packing box weight I have taken. 68 packing boxes I have taken the weight. And the LSL, you know that LSL is the lower specification limit should be 3 and the higher specification limit should be 5.5. Then, if you draw the histogram, then what we are going to see, we will see that. And here we come up, there are certain packing boxes with minimum readings. The minimum reading here is 3.5 grams. The maximum reading is 4.5 grams. So the difference between minimum and maximum is called range. In other words, that is the variation in this process. But in statistics, we don't call it as variation, we call it as a range. For variation, you should develop another factor known as, another character known as standard deviation. Some of you may be knowing it. Standard deviation is an index of process variation, and 6 times, if you calculate standard deviation and multiply it by 6, that is the process variation. Whereas range is the difference between minimum and maximum. By looking at range, you may think it is the process variation. No. Why is we are studying a process only samples. Based upon the samples, you will have to predict what should be the variation. You can't predict the range as a variation. If you produce more numbers, if you observe more numbers, if you measure more numbers, then most probably you will find the range will be going on increasing, because we have seen only 68 products. If you suppose you need, for example, if you measure 1,000 products, if you measure 10,000 products, then most probably the range may not be the same. It will be higher. It cannot be lower. So that is why the word Six Sigma or Sigma has brought into picture, and 6 times Sigma is the process variation. That is number 1. Second, if you see the slide, I have said 68 readings. I have deliberately said 68 readings. Why? Whenever you want to measure a histogram, first what you have to do is you go near the process. Number 2, ensure the process is operating as per SOP. Why we should do that is, by ensuring it is operating as for SOP, there is 95% chance that you are eliminating assignable costs. Even then 5% chance is there, but we cannot take. So whenever you study something, first ensure SOP adherence. Before ensuring SOP adherence, you must ensure SOP is available. In certain process, SOP in some companies itself may not be available. Wherever SOP is not available, the first job of any engineer is to make it available. Second job, he has to display that near the machine. Third job, he has to explain the features of SOP, which will say process parameters and these things like that to the operator concerned. Ensure the operator understands. In some companies I have seen, SOPs are written beautiful English. No operator knows English. What does it indicate? Operators are not reading SOP. Operators must read SOP. It can be in Tamil or any language you want, which is understood by the operator. The sketch that is given is the easiest form of understanding. You don't need any language. If I put proper sketch, then by looking at the sketch, we understand. We also see that in public places. So the washing room, toilet, some ladies' toilet, gents' toilet, some figures of the input. No, nothing is written. By looking at it, everybody knows. If you want to see a water fountain or water tap, then a particular that figure, if you see that, you immediately understand. You need not ask anybody. Especially if you go to foreign countries, and there, say for example, if you go to China, and there nobody knows English, we rely mainly on the signboards. Signboards are very, very important. So similar signboards we have to create in SOP in our organization, so that the operator need not know English. Majority of the people earlier were thinking, if you know English, you know everything. It's a very sorry state of affairs. It is a wrong notion. You need not know English to be a great person. But you should have common sense. You should have a tendency to help others. That's all required. Now coming back, as I was saying, 68 readings why I have taken. Generally, when you take the histogram, why do you want to take histogram? Because you want to study. Why do you want to study? Because you want improvement. Ultimately, it should result in improvement. We should go forward. And if you take this histogram, statistically speaking, you should take minimum 55 numbers. You can note down. Statistically, you should study 55 numbers. Don't ask me why 55 numbers. Why not 56? Why not 54? So 55 numbers is statistically designed. I don't want to explain that, which will take a lot of time. Nor it is required. It will be enough if you know that. So 55 numbers if you take, you will get reasonably good results. So that is why we have taken 55 numbers. Now the next slide, please. Now, if you see this, and this I have taken from a software. Majority of the people here sitting here may be knowing it. That is Minitab. Minitab is an excellent software, but costly. You may not be able to buy, but organizations should buy. The organization should have multi-license software, so that 4 or 5 people at the same time can work on that. So all the organizations will have Minitab. In case if you don't have it, kindly buy. That is important for us. And if you see this histogram and you find a smooth curve that is being interposed, it is by the software. That is normal. That looks like a bell-shaped curve. So by looking at it, I will say that this process, that is, what is the process? The process, that is the process from which we have taken the packing box and measuring the weight, is free from what cost? Assignable cost. That is free from assignable cost. That is why we find it is bell shaped. Number 2, at the bottom it is written process variation is 6 times standard deviation. Standard deviation is denoted by the letter sigma. Standard deviation is denoted by small letter sigma. So some of you would have seen it. Sigma is a Greek letter. Sigma has got capital letter, small letter. Capital letter means it looks like M inverse, putting it slantingly, and sigma, the capital sigma means summation. Small sigma is, we will see the symbol in case if some of you may not know that. Here it is, the symbol is not
சார்
there.
இந்த ஸ்லைடுல வந்து LSL 3 போட்டிருக்கு, USL 5.5 இருக்கு.
சரி.
ப்ரீவியஸ் ஸ்லைட்ல போட்டிருக்கீங்க தி வேரியேஷன் வாஸ் 1 தான் இருந்தது ரேஞ்ச். இதுல பாத்தீங்கன்னா LSL 3 இருக்கு, அப்புறம் வேரியேஷன் வந்து 2.5 இருக்கு. கொஞ்சம் சொல்றீங்களா சார் இத பத்தி?
Variation இல்ல. This is difference between USL and LSL is 2.5. You understand?
Okay, but அண்ணா
one minute.
previous slideல பாருங்க சார்.
Previous slide LSL 3 இருக்கு இல்லையா? Previous slide. Slide number 12.
Okay.
USL 5.5.
ஆனா இங்க மேக்ஸிமம் 4.5 அப்போ வந்து USL மைனஸ் அதுதானே வரணும் சார் இங்க.
இல்ல that's why I put maximum is maximum reading available in the histogram.
Okay.
அது வந்து ஸ்பெசிஃபிகேஷன். நம்ம ரீடிங்ல வந்தது மினிமம் 3.5, மேக்ஸிமம் 4.5.
ஓகே, ஆனா LSL 3.3 ன்னு போட்டுருக்கல
சார். LSL
அது ஸ்பெசிஃபிகேஷன் சார். அது
LSL 3
lower
Okay,
specification limit, upper specification limit.
Okay, within the limit.
Lowest reading, highest reading.
Okay, thank you sir, thank you.
What I suggest is,
ஓகே, கேட்டது வரைக்கும் கரெக்ட். ஓகே, பட்
TRN, lot of people seems to be knowing the difference between LSL, USL as well as the range. So after this program is over, those who have got this confusion, can you people explain to him so that I will go ahead with the thing without loss of time. Is it okay?
yeah, it's okay sir. Yeah, please.
Right. To answer this question, USL and LSL are allowable limits. They need not be present in the product. They are all allowable. If you take the marks of a student, his maximum mark allowed for him is 100%, but he may score only 88. It doesn't mean why is about 100% is not showing up. 100% is maximum. Similar to that, the maximum limit is 5.5. Minimum limit is 3. And the actual variation is 1. 4.5 minus 3.5. Is it okay? Now
Yes.
we'll go to slide 13. And slide 13 says the process variation is measured by 6 times standard deviation. Standard deviation is I have given on the top, that is 0.2385. If you measure it, if you multiply it by 6, you get 1.431. So that is the process variation. In other words, that is the width, the base width of the histogram. Is it clear? And the width shows 6 times sigma, that is the process variation. Whereas range is difference between minimum and maximum, that is 1. Range will always be lower and process variation is always higher. Somebody asks you what is the process variation of this process, then you must say it is 1.431. How do you got it? I calculate sigma and multiplied by 6. That's all, as simple as that. Nothing else. In this particular case, LSL is 3, USL is 5.5. We have not made use of it so far. We are going to make use of those things in our CPK calculation. Is it okay? Now, TR, and please watch the timing. Now it is 12:15. So, in my interest in the subject, I don't want to overshoot.
Okay, sir, it is going.
Sir, you can go up to 12:45. You can go ahead, sir. Go ahead. please.
12:45 வரைக்கும் போலாம் சார்.
12:45, yeah?
It is interesting, sir. It is interesting. Please go ahead.
All right, okay.
So can I change
Yeah.
the slide, sir?
You can slide the slide to 14.
14.
Hmm. So if you see the histogram, we are going to see the interpretation. If you see the first histogram and if you see the second histogram, the difference is the first histogram is exactly the center of the maximum limit and minimum limit, whereas the second histogram is slightly shifted towards max. So in other words, this as somebody was asking, this is how the mean was more or less in the center of maximum and minimum, whereas it got shifted towards maximum. Do you understand? Somebody was asking me what is the mean. So this is how the mean is getting shifted. So if the mean gets shifted and if it goes outside the maximum limit, then we will produce defectives. Similarly, if you see 3, the difference between 1 and 3 is the width is increasing. That means variation is high. When compared to 1, the variation is more or less double in figure 3. So if there is a small shift in the mean, then it will start producing defectives. Either it will go outside the maximum or outside the minimum. So the same thing for 4 and 5, I just want to leave it. The important thing is 6. You just see that. You see the shape. Is the shape normal? Is the shape bell shape? No. It has got 2 peaks. That means it is known as bimodal distribution. 2. What is the bimodal distribution? Suppose you are producing a product in 2 machines. If you are producing the product in 2 shapes, if you are producing a product in 2 locations, and if you mix both and take the histogram, 65 numbers, I take 32 numbers from the first shift, another 34 or 35 numbers from the second shift, mix both and then draw a histogram, then you will get a histogram similar to figure 6. So that means it is a mixed population. We call population, it is called mixed population. The mixed population could be mixed due to the machine, mixed due to the operator, mixed due to the unit, mixed due to the location. It can be anything. But only thing is, you should understand that. So in such a case, what you have to do is, you have to collect parts separately for machine 1, separately for machine 2, and then draw the histogram. Then you will get a bell-shaped curve. If you get a pin shape, that is bimodal distribution, don't proceed with calculating sigma and multiplying sigma by 6 and then say 6 sigma is the process variation. It will not work. So that is why I want to say the most important thing is it should be a bell-shaped distribution. In this particular case, 6 is not the bell-shaped distribution. If you take 1, you can calculate sigma. How to calculate sigma, we'll come to it later. You can calculate sigma multiplied by 6. You can, same thing for all other things. But in the case of 6, don't do that. If you do this, you will get into a wrong answer, wrong interpretation, and wrong decision. Don't do that. Okay? Now, we will go to slide 15, maximum. Can you go to next slide, please? See, this is how a normal distribution looks like. If a normal distribution, if you see, the center of the normal distribution is the peak. The center is the maximum frequency. Then on the right hand side, the frequency gradually comes down. Left hand side, the frequency gradually comes down. And you see the letter sigma, which is called standard deviation, which I was saying. So this is a Greek letter, small letters. Sigma means standard deviation. If you multiply sigma by 6, you get process variation that you have seen in the previous slide. Number 1. Number 2, if you bisect the normal distribution in terms of sigma, I hope you understand what I'm saying. In terms of sigma, then if it is plus or minus 1 sigma, why I am saying plus or minus means On the right hand side it is called plus, on the left hand side it is called minus. The normal distribution is symmetric. 50% of the distribution on the left hand side. That is why on the left hand side, for easy identification we call it as minus. On the right hand side, for easy identification we call it as plus. So if you take plus or minus 1 sigma, that is 1 sigma on the right hand side, 1 sigma on the left hand side. When I say plus or minus 1 sigma, plus 1 minus 1, it is 0 sigma, you should not say. Don't add mathematics. It is only representation. So you have to simply say plus minus means one is on the right one direction, another is another direction. So plus or minus 1 sigma, it covers 68.27% of the population. Plus or minus 2 sigma, that is 4 sigma, covers 95.45%. Any statistics books gives all these details. Plus or minus 3 sigma covers 99.73%. This is very, very important. Please note. Plus or minus 3 sigma alone, note down. Plus or minus 3 sigma is 99.73%. That means 99.73% of the process are within the specification. How much is outside the specification? 100 minus 99.73, which is 0.27, or putting it in ppm, it is 2,700 ppm. Everybody knows, I hope, the calculation of ppm to percentage ppm. In case if you don't know, start practicing it. 1% is equal to 10,000 ppm. So accordingly you calculate. Okay? And plus or minus 3 sigma is 99.73%. Kindly note down. We are going to make use of in future. Similarly, you see at the last, plus or minus 6 sigma. And plus or minus 6 sigma, how many percentage is outside? 0.002 ppm, not even percentage, ppm. So now I want to clear, everybody, a lot of confusion is created among the minds of the people, not this batch, but earlier batches wherever I address. We say plus or minus 3 sigma, total is 6 sigma, that is process variation. Now people are also talking about 6 sigma variation. That 6 sigma variation is plus or minus 6 sigma plus sigma, which is given in the last column, which is equal to 002 ppm. In other words, 002 ppm is nothing but zero defect. That is why the 6 sigma concept came into the picture. I think you already had a lecture program on 6 sigma. Is it correct, Mr. Narasimhan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They attended the 6 sigma.
You are right. So the plus or minus 6 sigma is the concept for 6 sigma. Plus or minus 3 sigma is the concept for process variation. Both of them may be 6 sigma. Don't get confused. When I say process variation, I mean plus or minus 3 sigma. When I say 6 sigma management concept, I call plus or minus 6 sigma. Is it clear? Right. We'll go to the next slide. Process control system, for the present will skip. Process capability concepts. Slide 19. Can you take slide 19? Slide 19, 19. Slide 19. Yeah, process capability concepts. Right. Slide 20. Slide 20 says, what is process capability? Process capability is the extent of variation in the quality characteristics of the process output when the process is operating in a state of statistical control under a given set of conditions. In other words, process capability is about studying the variation when there is no assignable cause, and when the process is under control, that is 100%. That is 100% freedom from process process is under control, or people say statistical control, both meaning the same. So to calculate the process capability means we are talking about how to calculate the process variation. And the process variation is calculated. We are going to see how in the next few slides. Now slide 21. Slide 21 says, why process capability? The process capability measurements are used to determine whether a process given its natural variation means chance cost, is capable of meeting the customer requirements or specification. Suppose you develop a process and you want to meet certain tolerance. The tolerance is given to you by the customer. Then you must know, and if you calculate the process capability, then you can know you will be able to meet the requirements. So that is why process capability. That is ability to meet the requirements of the customer. Okay. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Slide 22. For calculating process capability, we need sigma. Then how? There are two ways of calculating sigma. One, sigma C is equal to R bar by D2. R is the range. This is the terminology we use in control charts. People using control charts may be knowing it. D2 is a statistical constant. I will come to it a bit later. We will go to the next slide. Slide number 23. Yeah, there is one more way of calculating process capability, that is given by sigma P is equal to small s, that is sample standard deviation, that is given by the formula sigma xi minus x bar whole square, xi bar whole minus x bar, x minus x, that whole thing whole square divided by n minus 1. In other words, x is individual reading. In the histogram we are seen, we are taken 68 individual reading. The 68 has got one x1 bar, that is average. And in control chart, we study number of averages, that is x1 bar, x2 bar, like that. And if you, in this particular formula, if you subtract individual reading from the average reading and take the square of that and divide it by n minus 1. N is the number of readings. The area sample it is 68. So 68 minus 1 is 67. And if you take the overall square root, we get sigma. In other words, we take the mean square and square root of that, or in other words, this formula is derived from root mean square. RMS formula, this is known as RMS formula, kindly note down. So sigma can be calculated by RMS, sigma can be calculated by R bar by D2. That we use what? We will see it. And generally, RMS formula is used for calculating CP, for calculating the process capability. RMS formula is more familiar. Okay. Now, we will go to slide number 25. We will go to slide number 25. Can you go to 25? Yeah. When, as I said in the very first slide, whenever you want to improve, you have to measure. If you want to measure, then you must have some units. In other words, you must have some index. There are two measures for process capability. One measure is known as CP. Another measure is known as CPK. CP is nothing but process variation. CPK is a combination of process variation. What is that?
No problem, sir. You proceed.
Right. Okay. CPK is a combination of process variation and centering both clubbed together. Okay. Now, take the next slide, 26. Now, CP and CPK are given by the formula. CP is given by the formula USL minus LSL. That is upper specification limit minus lower specification limit by 6 times standard deviation. And this is USL minus LSL, all of you know, is nothing but tolerance. So tolerance by 6 sigma is the measure for CP. What is CPK? The minimum of USL minus X bar divided by 3 sigma or X bar minus LSL divided by 3 sigma. That is, if in this particular case, since there is no shift, the X bar is exactly in the center of USL and LSL, both USL minus X bar by 3 sigma or X bar minus LSL by 3 sigma, both are same. Suppose the mean is getting shifted towards USL. If it is getting shifted towards USL, then it will be nearer towards USL by some amount. Then you have to take USL minus X bar by 3 sigma. If on the other hand, if the center is shifted towards LSL, then you will have to take for CPK purpose X bar minus LSL divided by 3 sigma, because that is the minimum. So if you do 2 or 3 times calculations, you will get quite clear on this. Now, I am going to the next slide, 27. 27. Good. It's a very important slide. I want the concentration of everybody. Now I have taken one example and we are trying to calculate CP and CPK. The example is sigma, last line you write, you see that before that table, sigma is 1. Why I have taken 1 is for easy calculation. It need not be 1 always. It is only example. USL is 16, LSL is 4. So what is the tolerance? USL minus LSL, 16 minus 4. Already calculated and given. So the sigma is 1. So if X bar is 10, see for example, USL is 16, LSL is 4, the midpoint of both is 10. That is why serial number 1 says 10. If it is 10 and if you substitute CP, if you calculate CP, USL minus LSL, USL is 16, LSL is 4, 16 minus 4 is 12, 12 divided by 6 into 1 is 6, 12 by 6 is 2. So CP is 2. CPK is the same as CP because it is exactly in the center. If CPK and CP are both same, and if it happens to be 2, then the process is very well capable. I am using the word well capable. Then, instantly, for a process to be capable, it should be minimum 1, CP and CPK should be minimum 1.33. There are some more conditions, I will come to it later. So, for a process to be CPK to be 1.3. Process is very well capable, it is going up to 2. That means higher CPK better. But one disadvantage is if you go on increasing CPK, then you should go for precise machines, more precise machines. That means instead of going in for a normal semi-automatic machine, you have to go for a CNC machine. If you still further want to improve it, instead of going to CNC machine, you should go for robotic machines. So if you go like that, CPK will be going on increasing, but manufacturing cost will also go on increasing. If you are going to tell the custom part, I am going to give you gold part. If you say that, customer will be very happy. But if you tell him, I am going to charge extra for this gold, that customer will not buy from you. So you should give gold at the cost of aluminum. How to do that? Is it difficult? It is difficult. It is easy. It is not easy. Are we here to do difficult jobs? Yes. So our job is to do that. So in this particular example, I just exaggerated to tell you the cost. You can't give gold at the cost of aluminum, but that is what the customer wants. So you should give the objective is you should give the maximum value of the product to the customer. Right. Coming back, suppose the X bar in the previous case is trend, which is exactly mean of LSL and USL. Suppose if it gets shifted towards if it becomes 8.5, if it gets shifted towards LSL, then what is the minimum value? Then CP will not change, because CP formula says tolerance by 6 sigma. It will not change. But what is CPK? Minimum of USL minus X bar or X bar minus LSL. In this case, the minimum value is USL minus X bar. USL is how much? 16. X bar in this particular case, 8.5. 16 minus 8.5, how much? 6.5. If divided by 3 sigma, then you get 1.5. Okay, I'm sorry, 4.5, you get 1.5. You can calculate CPK by this method. And if it is, are you following?
Yes, sir.
So 8.5, if it is getting shifted, I'm sorry, if it becomes 8.5, it gets shifted towards LSL. 8.5 is shifted towards LSL. So 8.5 minus what is LSL? 4. 8.5 minus LSL 4 is how much? 4.5. 4.5 by 3 is 1.5. That is why I put CPK is 1.5. Simply apply the formula. Don't do anything. When CP equal to 2, CPK is 1.5. This is an important factor for us. This is known as 6 sigma quality. If somebody asks you, please produce 6 sigma quality, you must say that I will produce, my process will produce with a CP of 2, CPK of 1.5. In which case, it will have the overall of 3.4 ppm. It is not 0. A 6 sigma quality product will not be 0 defect. It will produce 3.4 ppm. Like that. If the center gets shifted to 8, CPK becomes 1.33. 1.33 is the minimum value of CPK required for the process to be capable. So we get a capable process. Can we go to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
If the X bar gets shifted to 6, then we get CPK 1.67. That means it is less than 1.33. The minimum requirement is 1.33. So the process is not capable. Please see that. Suppose the X bar gets shifted to 4. What is 4? 4 is nothing but LSL. That means if it falls exactly on the lower specification limit, then the CPK will be 0. In which case, the process will produce 50% rejection. When CPK goes outside the USL, then the CPK value becomes minus. Then the process rejection goes beyond 50%, more than 50%, say 50%, 30%. So this is the advantage of CPK. So I will say the minimum requirement for CPK is 1.33 for the capable process. There are two indices, CP and CK. CP is nothing but tolerance by 6 sigma. CP talks only about variation. It doesn't talk about the centering. CPK talks about variation also, because in the denominator you find sigma. So it talks about variation as well as the centering, that is X bar. So CPK talks about two features. That is why CPK is taken as the index for process capability, and the minimum index value is 1.33. That means higher the better. Higher the value of CPK, it is better. Okay. Now go to the next slide, 29.
Sir,
Ah,
sir, in the slide order நிறுத்திக்கலாம் sir. ஏன்னா we have not even crossed 50%.
சரி.
So Saturday இதே மாதிரி 11:15 ஆரம்பிச்சலாம். We need your time, sir. So
Saturday most probably must be okay for me. Same time must be okay for me.
yeah.
So before that, I want 98. Please. Okay, you may not have the. You take
நீங்க
the
rush பண்ணி
standard book on. Huh?
So Saturday 11:15 மறுபடியும் 1 hour எடுத்துக்கலாம்.
இல்ல அது முன்னாடி நான் என்ன சொல்றேன், ஹலோ everybody please take your, everybody must have some course material with you regarding CPK. Please read that, understand that fully in case if you don't understand. Read it 3 times. Practice CPK. Then come for the lecture. Then you will follow very easily.
Yes, sir.
Is it okay, Narsimhan?
Yes, sir.
Will you please convey to all our friends?
Yeah.
Is all our friends okay with the suggestion? My
Yes.
simple, humble request to all the participants. Please study, please practice, please understand, then come to the class. It is easy so that I can go to such a higher level.
Yes. Sir, today this learnings are variation. There are 2 causes. One is change cost, another one is assignable cost. So the stability comes through the chance cost. If chance costs are there, the stability will be there. Process is under control. What is
hello, Narsimhan, putting it other way around.
Yes.
Because saying chance cost is there, chance cost will always there. The assignable cost should be absent. That is what I should say.
Yes. In the assignable
That's
cost,
our work.
we are learning lessons. One more important thing, we have a directory of assignable classes, so that they will be they improve the process by having this directory of assignable classes. The excellent message you have given. So this unstable process is coming through an assignable process. The process variation is the range. We will call it as range. So minimum sample for
No. Yeah, that one minute.
Yeah.
Range is different, process variation is different.
Yeah, process variation is different. Yes.
Yeah.
So this sample minimum 55. Normally people say 32, sir. 32 is not enough. 32 numbers is not enough.
Correct.
32
is required. 32 போதாது.
55 numbers. Oh.
So 1%.
Okay. Right. So 1% is equal to yes. So 1% is equal to 10,000 ppm. For ppm calculation, we can take this. So here, if x bar is 10, x bar is 10, CP and CPK 2, then it is not economically viable. That lesson also we have to learn. So the Six Sigma quality is CP2, CPK 1.5. That is viable and it is Six Sigma quality. These lessons, in fact, we have learned. Many people, apart from this, there will be a lot of learning. We can share it on Saturday. Saturday we can have this continuation, sir. If we don't want to rush it.
Only one point.
Yeah.
PPM calculates by dividing 1 by 10,000, or 1 million, that is 10 lakhs. Then we find out how many ciphers are there. I feel 1% is 1000 ppm. So I want to cross-check that.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir. We will continue on.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you very much, sir. In fact, we had a very beautiful understanding of concepts. So you have started with the what process is all about, right? How we have to manage and all that. So
Okay.
I think for want of time, we will adjourn today. Then we'll resume
Right.
your class on Saturday morning by 11:15. We need your time for 1 hour to explain furthermore. So thank you very much for your time, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, PSO, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.